Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Good Orderly Direction, Practical Tools of the Bible. Today we're discussing Exodus 19, Moses' first trip up Mount Sinai. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the people of Israel. You have seen what I did to Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to me. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." The Lord said to Moses, "I'm going to come to you in a dense cloud so that the people will hear me speaking with you and will always put their trust in you. Go to the people and consecrate them. Have them wash their clothes and be ready by the third day." On the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning and a thick cloud over the mountain and a very loud trumpet blast, and everyone in the camp trembled. Then Moses led the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the front foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord descended on it in fire. The smoke billowed up from it like smoke from a furnace, and the mountain trembled violently. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. The Lord descended to the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain and said to him, "Go down and warn the people so they do not force their way through to the Lord, and bring Aaron up with you. But the priests and the people must not force their way through to come up to the Lord, or he will break out against them." Before we get into the thoughts on this chapter, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps support the channel. So God has regularly been talking to Moses throughout this whole Exodus process. Think about what was the significance of this ascension to the top of Mount Sinai. The people in prior chapters had started to become a little irritable, had started to question Moses about what was going on. They were becoming a little unsettled. So, does the mountain represent the path to heaven, and only those who have been deemed worthy of God can ascend? Could be. Remember, everything in the Bible is there for a reason, so we need to ask ourselves, why was this put in the Bible, and why was this given its own chapter? What were we supposed to learn from this? How might this event have been designed to increase people's motivation and unity? Remember, when things get difficult, people tend to bond together. People tend to support one another. In fear, that bond can be very strong. And they don't know what's going on right now. They're dealing with a lot of hardships. So this is forcing them to support one another. The Miracles of Exodus, a scientist's discovery of the extraordinary natural causes of the biblical stories by Colin J. Humphreys, is a really good book if you're interested in sciencey type explanations. Obviously, the rumbling and the fire and the smoke probably meant that there was some sort of volcanic activity going on. And so Colin Humphreys goes through this and talks about, okay, how might this have happened? So whether you believe in God of heavens or good orderly direction or whatever you believe in, it's important to recognize that this really could have happened. The people had been through a lot. Their routines were totally disrupted. They were blindly following Moses and Aaron away from everything they had known for the promise of a better future. Each of these experiences of distress, the plagues, crossing the Red Sea, hunger, and thirst, is designed to unite the people and encourage them to see there is something greater than themselves, to encourage them to have compassion for one another and bond and become stronger, ultimately creating the body of Christ.